You recently have made a statement that became pretty high
Viral.
profile.
Yeah.
That you I don't correct me if I'm wrong, but you made the accusation that the president of Mexico was connected to the cartels,
hmm
and she didn't like that.
She didn't like that. And a lot of people didn't like that. And a lot of people decided to align me or disalign me with a certain Mexican political party by saying that I was taking a political stance. When in reality, any person with half a brain who looks at what's been done to combat the cartels and what hasn't been done would tell you the same thing. There has been such a mark, a bloody mark on the human toll in Mexico due to cartel violence. And of course, that's just not only just Mexico, because a lot of people also blame the US government for working with the Chapitos to kidnap, capture, and prosecute El Mayo, one of the leaders of a faction of the Sinaloa cartel, saying that that sparked immense bloodshed across Mexico. But, you know, I previously said that went viral. I think she has cartel ties. She has cartel ties. She allows a lot of corruption and impunity and violence to occur in a country that has such a beautiful culture and is marked by such an ugly underbelly. So, yeah, I mean, when I first started covering this, I managed to gather a lot of sources high up in the Mexican federal government who will never be revealed. And I know that a lot of people say, well, if she's telling the truth, she'll reveal her sources. You know, if I actually value my life and the lives of the people who are willing to put their lives on the line to tell me this information, I'm never revealing those sources, and I could not give a fuck what people have to say about that. But I received a lot of information from them that was so black and white that there is such a high level of corruption and ties to organized crime. It's indisputable at this point. And you look down the line of the political hierarchy in Mexico and you see governors being sanctioned and National Guard members and governors being on the payroll of the very criminals torturing their communities that they're meant to protect. The degradation of integrity it's blatant, and it's a slap in the face to any person living in that country who's working an honest job and trying to make an honest life for themselves or their family members.
Well, I think, you know, what you have done is used to be called journalism, and you know, political elected political figures should always be held accountable through good
100%
journalism. And you know, I don't know if she's responded. I think she's responded to your
and there's been quite a few responses from up there.
So,
but I think journalism at its core is, I say this all the time, it's a pillar of democracy. And to ensure that the people who are meant to maintain the highest level of integrity are held accountable, that's democracy to its core. And so if you disagree with that, you're not disagreeing with me, you're not disagreeing with what I have to say, you're disagreeing with democracy. So
yeah. So, I mean, I think this is an important point, though, because journalism, in my opinion, has been long lost in the mainstream media. And so people aren't accustomed anymore to hearing real journalists go out there in the field, in the trenches, gathering truths and exposing truths. And so when people see that, it seems radical. What you're doing seems radical, but it's not radical.
People just aren't used to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I never expect anyone to appreciate something they can't understand. If you don't like what I'm doing, I simply believe it's just because you don't understand it. But, you know, I worked in mainstream media at the beginning of my career. I had a positive experience. But there comes a point where if you really want to push and dive as deep as possible into the guts of the story and expose people, you kind of have to be a lone wolf. Funny, in the Lone Star State, right? But that's, and it's really hard. You bust your ass and you get a lot of pushback, but the message is very clear. The purpose is clear here.
You know, I think everybody knows when you hear cartels, people would know, you know, cartels are probably associated with drugs and crime. But just in a short, like, overview, could you tell us, like, your definition of what a cartel is?
Yeah, a cartel is an organized crime group. Honestly, it's a foreign terrorist. It's a terrorist organization.
President Trump and Greg Abbott got it right.
It's a terror group, especially because it's no longer just drugs. So if you asked me this question in the 80s or the 90s, I would say, well, it's a criminal organization that produces and traffics drugs. Today, their operations have expanded so far beyond drugs, and their reach has expanded globally that's a terror organization. And it's not a terror organization in a way where you could compare it to the Taliban, right? Or Al-Qaeda, because unlike a lot of these textbook terror groups, it's not ideological. It's operational. So they aren't going and, bombing a public place where there will be a lot of casualties in the name of a religion or a radical ideology. Rather, they're producing drugs that kill people, and people are willingly taking these drugs. But the way they have managed to set up operations in terms of, it's not just drugs anymore. It's extortion, kidnapping, agriculture, crude oil theft, human trafficking, sex trafficking, and propaganda through music, pop culture, social media, movies. That's textbook terror, honestly. Yeah. And they're causing terror across all boards in all societies. It's not just in Mexico.
Across borders, yes.
Yeah, it's across borders,
And I think the one commonality, in my experience being, working around, different terror groups and around the world, one of the commonalities I see with the cartels and traditional terror groups like the Taliban is it's all about power and control.
Yes.
They want power, they want control, narcissistic behaviors to feed their own,
egos.
Agenda, egos and agenda. Yeah. So there's a lot of commonalities in that